Ignition, liftoff.
Dunk Diaries is a collection of the best dunkers at every level, showing you what it takes to make the best dunks of all time. This is what you don't see about dunking.
It started off with my dad naming me after Michael Jordan. I would pretty easily say I was the most obsessed person with dunking like ever. It's kind of ridiculous. There's even videos of me dunking at 1 year old on like hoops that are super short, and then I worked my way up, Fisher Price nets. Then all of a sudden when I was 15, I saw Air Up There and T-Dub, these guys doing crazy dunks, and they weren't in the NBA. And I was like, man, you can do dunking and you don't necessarily have to go to be in the NBA. So my first dunk ever was at 16. I was working my way up, dunking on 9 feet, 9.5 feet. And then eventually, I finally managed to get my first dunk on 10 feet. It was awesome for me because I'd been trying for months to finally get that dunk down. And yeah, 16, and I was 6'1".
Growing up with Jordan in the yard, and he would always be out there dunking and doing his thing. And so slowly I started just trying to, imitate him and do the things he did. Dunking with him has been a lot of fun, and it's also a lot easier considering, he's the best in the world, and learning from the best in the world is always great.
For me, it was fairly easy to start doing tricks on 10 feet. Because I was dunking so much on 8 foot and 9 foot and doing so many trick dunks, trying to be like T-Dub, like Air Up There. There's a lot of people that just try and dunk on 10 feet and then they try and go for a two-hander next and then maybe go for 360 next, but I already had all that technique down because I was doing it on lower rims first. I was starting to get really good. I was starting to do like show dunks that a lot of pro dunkers do. And I felt like I was better than some of the lower level guys, but nobody was giving me a shot, right? Nobody was flying me out. So then this guy from Hoop Mixtape decided to fly me out to LA, and I dunked with all the pro dunkers. And all of a sudden I was like doing better than the pro dunkers because I had so much adrenaline, right? So I was jumping so much higher. And so that's when I was like, man, I can actually do this. And so that's when I made the jump to leave school and then go for it. But when I actually started blowing up was, the Lost and Found and Scorpion, and then it really blew up with the All-Star Game. And then even more with the Gary Payton video.
The first time I ever met Jordan Kilganon was actually in 2009. And he reached out to me. He was 16 years old at the time, and he was a huge Team Flight Brothers fan. He was a huge T-Dub fan. He just has something in his head that is just more creative than the next guy. Some people are put limitations on things like this can't be done type of deal. I don't think Jordan has that in him. I think he knows that he doesn't have any limitations, and anytime somebody's doubted that, he's gone and done something new, and it's like, oh man, this guy's right. There's still dunks to be done.
Creativity is a skill, right? So I find that my ability to create new dunks now is better than it was back then. That day that I hit the reverse 360 Lost and Found, I was actually not supposed to jump. It was supposed to be a rest day, and then all of a sudden I jumped probably 80 times. I just kind of kept doing it wrong. I kept throwing it too close right here instead of throwing it up here. That's why I have to practice it on the ground as much as I can. And I have to practice that over and over again until it feels right, and then I'll go do an attempt. When you think of a crazy dunk like that and you try it 70 times and you never even think you're gonna get it that day, it's the best feeling in the world.
The best dunk I've ever seen Jordan do is without a doubt the Lost and Found. It was just so creative at the time. It was something that was outside the box. So it just kind of separated him as a dunker and separated him being the most creative dunker on the planet.
So my signature dunk, I suppose, is my Scorpion dunk. It's the most popular one, and it's the one that I can do the most consistently. And my favorite dunk contest is gonna have to be Ghetto Games. I was starting to do this dunking stuff, and I didn't know how to be an entertainer, and everybody was calling me a YouTube dunker. He can only do it when he tries a million times in the gym. He can't do it on a real court. And so this dunk contest, Ghetto Games, was the biggest one that summer. The final dunk, I was doing a dunk over a car. When I actually got it, it was the best feeling ever. My ability to dunk the way that I do now comes from the years of obsessive training that I've done. For a few months, I'll just get my strength up, you know, so I'll do squats, deadlifts, all that other kind of stuff. And it's very specific kind of like anti-rotational type of core exercises. In my phase 2, I'm lifting heavy weights still, but faster. So now I'm doing power cleans, you know, I'm doing squat jumps, that kind of stuff. And then in phase 3, when I'm jumping my highest, so this is when I'm gonna be getting ready for a show, I'm doing, you know, more plyometrics and a lot more jumping. And that keeps me really fast and elastic.
Just like the resilience of him and the consistency to like keep trying these dunks is just amazing. It's really overlooked because people just see these dunks happen and they don't understand how much work gets put into it. Jordan wasn't born a dunker. He actually built himself into being a dunker. I'm actually quoted in like an old interview saying, with my original guys, is that you can't train to be what these guys are. And Jordan, 10 years later, he trained to be what those guys are, so he proved me wrong. He's one of the greatest dunkers that have ever lived, and many people would consider him the greatest dunker of all time. I don't think there's anybody you can compare him to. I think he's just got mixtures of a lot of guys from the past, and he pays respects to the guys that paved the way.
No matter what level you are at dunking, there's always something like a little bit better that you can do. And that's not that far away. And when you get it, it feels like a big achievement. And there's thousands of dunks that you can do. So there's always something that a little extra level.
The future for Jordan Kilganon, I just see him using his platform, and I hope he uses his platform to just create more room for other guys to get paid from our sport. I think he can be the guy that paves the way more than anybody else. He's the most followed dunker on the planet, and I think his path is going to be helping people understand and helping people learn to love dunking as its own sport.
Right now, the community is getting bigger and bigger, I think. Not everybody was training to be pro dunkers. Usually pro dunkers are just guys that were already good at basketball. Now it's more so people have been training for years just to be pro dunkers. And that's a new thing. And I think that's just the goal for now, is just to help it grow. And if I can help it do that too, that's why I'm here.
Coming up next.
Like, I didn't know who he was, but then I saw a video of him. He's just throwing the ball off the back wall and just like punching windmills, doing like 360s off the back wall.
My name is Connor Barth. I'm 6'4", and I'm a relatively new dunker. I've only been doing it for like a year and a half. My earliest dunk memory is my first dunk. It was like in high school. I used to go work out every morning before school, and my dad was the coach there for the girls team, and I bet him that I could dunk. And I spent about an hour trying, and I finally made one, just barely squeaked it in, and he wasn't watching. So then it took me like another month to actually show him.
16 months ago, Connor, like, I didn't know who he was, but then I saw a video of him. He's just throwing the ball off the back wall and just like punching windmills, doing like 360s off the back wall. And it's like, this is actually like pretty dope. And I think that's like kind of what got him going. A couple people posted him, and then there it goes from there.
I always knew that I had potential, but when I really realized I could be a pro dunker was last year at the dunk camp. I did really well, and I wasn't expecting to be as good as I was, and it just really opened my eyes. I can do this if I just try.
Connor has like a right-left style that's a lot different when it comes to jumping. He's just like so powerful, and he floats, man. Like, he just has like his own thing. He doesn't jump like anybody else does.
The best moment I've had so far dunking is when I hit a crown at dunk camp. It's when you put both your elbows in the basket, but behind your head.
The thing that surprised me about Connor during his dunk session, he's legit. Like, his head is at the rim every time, and he punches the hell out of the ball. His power in his dunks, and just like his style, when he dunks with his right hand, he like dunks the hell out of it, and he doesn't want to hit himself in the face. So every time, if you like show the replay, he's putting his face out of the way so he's not knocking himself out with the ball. And then there was one that stuck out, and it happened in the beginning. He just walked up casually, went behind the back, and just punched it left-handed. It was just so like nonchalant, so chill, and he just punched it.
My signature dunk is the win off the wall. The win is when you have the ball bounce and it goes under your leg while you're in the air, but you don't use your front hand to push it through, and then you're only catching it with one hand on the back side of your leg. No one else has done it yet. It's only been done once, and that was me. And I haven't done it since then either. My holy grail dunk, there's a couple, but a 360 win off the wall, and then the bounce dunk is one of them. The dunker I respect the most is probably Jordan Kilganon, and his passion for it and how just obsessed he is with it is contagious, and I mean, that's why he is so good.
The dunker that Connor reminds me of is the guy that I grew up with. It was a guy, Tim Lowe, and this is like early Team Flight Brother days, and they're both just like goofy guys. Like, you'll walk next to them and they just look clumsy, then all of a sudden they plant their feet and jump out the building.
So my short-term goals when it comes specifically to dunking is getting physically totally healthy. I train 6 days a week, lots of like flexibility, things like that. My long-term goal is not to be the best dunker, but to be the highest jumping dunker that there's been. I want to do a legit shoulder hang on 10 feet without a pull-up. So 55-inch vert is what I need for that.
Goals I have for Connor, I'd like to see like some consistency with a few of his dunks, and I'd like to see like him get like kind of pissed off, like get that edge or that chip on his shoulder to see him like be better than the next person, because he has idols that are friends. I'd like to see him get like kind of mad and want to beat them in a contest.
2 years from now, I see myself having done the shoulder hang and having about a 54, 55-inch running vert. And then from there, I just want to help dunking grow more on the actual business side of things. And I'm just trying to make people realize that dunking is a sport and it is its own thing, and I'm gonna do it.
Coming up next.
Once I hit my first windmill, I was super excited about it. Kind of excited like I just got my first dunk. CJ champion, 6 foot professional dunker. I would say I really got into it around 7th and 8th grade. That's when I started watching lots of dunk videos. In my high school year, I didn't make my basketball team, so I was the videographer, but I always had a want to like be something a little bit more. I wanted more attention. Of course, I was more interested in dunking. I remember my freshman year was one of the first time I touched backboard. First time I touched rim was about 10th or 11th grade, and then 12th grade I was starting to get my wrist over the rim. So we had a student-faculty game. During warm-ups, lots of adrenaline buildup, everyone's watching me, so I went off the dribble, flushed it really good, and it was just like, that was it. That was like one of the greatest moments of my life. Everybody was going crazy in the back.
I started working with CJ Champion 2015. His style is different than anybody else's in the dunk game. He's powerful and he's always had like the bounce. The traits that make CJ different as a dunker is he's a lefty, he's a natural lefty, and he jumps really good with the ball in his hand. Not a very common thing in the dunk world.
Once I hit my first windmill, I was super excited about it. Kind of excited like I just got my first dunk. And I felt like I was real. I was like, man, I'm a real jumper at this point. If I can windmill, that's it. That's it. This is the start. 2017, was when I got called to do the biggest contest I've ever done, and it was Kings of Air. I had like 3 months of preparation for this contest, and that was the most hyper-focused like mentally I've ever been, and more driven to do like anything ever in my life. So once we get to the contest, I wanted to pull out the cuff scorpion as my first dunk, and nobody knows I could do it. Nobody really sees it the way I do it, which is left-handed and left-right plant. So I pull it out, first try, first dunk. Everybody goes crazy, nobody expects it, and I feel like that was a big thing that really kind of got a lot of eyes on me.
The best dunk I've seen CJ pull off was definitely during Dunk League Season 2, the lob scorpion. He did it on the first try. He did it out of nowhere. He was the first guy to ever do it in a dunk contest. That was like one of the top 10 dunks I've ever seen in person during a contest.
Dunk League, it was probably one of the most important things that I've ever done. It was like my prime. I was at my peak with jumping at that point. It was just a lot of work, and probably the highest I've ever achieved with anything in dunking.
There's no way somebody should have been in their first big dunk contest, in the biggest dunk contest ever, and came in 3rd place. He outdunked Guy Dupuis, who's one of the greatest dunkers, if not the greatest like dunk contest dunker ever. It was unbelievable. It was awesome.
I must have gained like 10,000 followers on Instagram after it blew up on YouTube. My DMs every single week after an episode, my DMs were just like filled.
If I was CJ, my goals would be just to stay healthy, because everything else is taken care of. He has the hard part out of the way. He's already a freak of nature. He's one of the highest jumpers in the world, one of the best dunkers in the world already. The key to his longevity is his health.
Short-term goal is I have to get a lot stronger. Everything I do is revolved around trying to jump higher. It's nutrition, the amount of sleep I get every day. It's leg day every day. Long-term, I would like to separate dunking from basketball in a way, because dunking is its own sport. I think there's ways where you can really make it detailed in terms of judging, customize your own gyms specifically for dunking, and I feel like there's a lot of things that we could do with the dunking community, because we all help each other. We all want to go and bring dunking somewhere to another level. We all want to like achieve our goals together. Best dunker in the world, it's Isaiah, obviously. But I'm gonna definitely be on that road, and by the time summer comes again, I'm gonna be the best dunker in the world.
Coming up next.
My first dunk was at 24 Hour Fitness. It was probably like 11th grade, because that's like when I hit my growth spurt. And there wasn't that many people there, but I was excited. I'm Tyler Currie. I'm 5'11", and I'm 20 years old. I realized I jumped higher than everybody. At like 10 years old, I was grabbing backboard and net before everybody, and I was the smallest person on my team, so everybody just always knew I had bounce. My first dunk was at 24 Hour Fitness. It was probably like 11th grade, because that's like when I hit my growth spurt, and there wasn't that many people there, but I was excited. I always just had bounce, but I was short, so I really couldn't dunk. And just messing around with my friends, I did the drive-by dunk challenge. The drive-by dunk challenge was me hopping out the car and going to a random person's house and dunking on their court and getting back in and driving on. I was just in front of my friend's house waiting, and then he was just like, go dunk on their court. And I was like, all right, record. And then I did a crazy dunk. It went viral, everybody was doing it. NBA players, De'Aaron Fox did it, college players, little kids. And I just started doing dunk sessions and really came into a world of dunking that I really didn't know was here.
When I first met Tyler, he was super shy. I think he was 2 weeks out of high school, and all of a sudden he was dunking with the best dunkers in the world. Showed flashes of greatness like immediately. He wasn't ready yet, but he is ready now.
I think what makes me different is my style. Everybody says I'm like nonchalant when I jump, but I'm very explosive. I think a lot of people might get up like me, but I think my dunks just look a lot nicer than everybody's. It just looks nasty.
He just will take a step and his head will be at the rim. So just like the explosiveness, like all pro dunkers jump high, but he gets up there a little quicker than everybody else does.
Confidence is definitely a key in being a good dunker. Cause like being nervous or thinking you can't do it, that'll just weigh you back. I don't think I take my dunk style from anybody. I think it's just me. I knew this could be a profession when I got invited to Dunk League. It had a lot of pros and cons. Now, it for sure motivated me because I don't like to lose. So just losing made me want to, next time around, I'm gonna be at the top. The traits that make up a good dunker are, I think, how hard you slam it, your style, and just being creative. Something that nobody's seen, something different from everybody else. I think my favorite is the through the legs reverse. I like to do it off a lob. I throw a lob and through the legs and just reverse with two hands. I think it's my favorite because I don't see nobody do it. And I just think it's different and it looks crazy.
The best dunk I've seen Tyler do, he did a off the lob 360 windmill, but he scooped it when he did the 360 windmill. He did it the Vince Carter way, the reverse 360, which I had never seen before. I had never seen anyone do it. The dunker that Tyler reminds me of is another LA dunker of the past, which is Young Hollywood. And they both have like an effortless kind of trot, and then they're just head at the rim, like real quick. He just gets up so quick.
The best dunk ever is Jonathan Clark's double between the legs. That was crazy. And my favorite dunker is Chris Staples. He's taught me a lot, and he's the first person I met in the dunk community. He gets up like crazy. And my dream dunk is for sure behind the back between the legs. Short-term goal for dunking is for sure winning a contest. And long-term goal for dunking is just creating something that nobody's seen before and that people could try, and I want everybody to just fail and not be able to do it.
Like, just so cool to see how far he's come in these 2 years. The future's in his own hands. If he stays at it, then this kid can be around for a really long time.
I think I'm the most underrated dunker, and I don't think a lot of people know me yet. I don't think I made myself like established in the dunk game yet, but I'm coming.